Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends. Thank you very much for joining today's webinar titled AI for Lifelong Learning in Cities, Shaping Inclusive Local Practice. My name is Wondosan, and I form part of the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities, GNLC, coordination team at the UNESCO Institute of Lifelong Learning, UIL. I am delighted to be the moderator of today's session with my colleague Mo Wang, who is a senior program specialist at UIL. Today's event is the fifth in a series of 9 webinars we are hosting this year in the framework of the GNLC. Throughout the year, we will explore a broad range of topics focused on fostering learning opportunities for people of all ages at the local level. Each session will address different themes and highlights the need of diverse learner groups. Today's topic is especially meaningful as it addresses the far-reaching implications of artificial intelligence, AI, for lifelong learning in learning cities. AI is transforming key dimensions of urban life, from employment to education, healthcare, and public services, creating new opportunities for social and economic development. Yet, its rapid adoption also raises critical challenges, including data privacy, algorithmic bias, misinformation, and job displacement, underscoring the need for citizens to develop AI literacy and lifelong learning competencies. A central priority for learning cities is therefore to establish inclusive, human-centered frameworks for the ethical and responsible deployment of AI, built on a strong governance and multi-stakeholder collaboration so that its benefits are widely shared and technological innovations contribute to sustainable and equitable urban transformation. In this context, the UNESCO Institute of Lifelong Learning, UIL, through the Global Network of Learning Cities, seeks to support member cities in navigating rapid digital and technological transformations in a human-centered, safe, and responsible manner. As part of this effort, GNLC is exploring the development of a dedicated stream on AI and digitalization to help cities strengthen governance capacities, foster cross-sector partnerships, advance inclusion, build AI and digital literacy, and leverage technology to support sustainable urban development. With this bigger picture in mind, let's now turn to today's agenda. Let's begin with a quick overview. First, we'll hear from Ms. Rachel Polak, Program Specialist at the Section for Technology and AI in Education, Future of Learning and Innovation Division, Education Sector of UNESCO. Then we'll hear from Ms. Livia Schaefer-Nonose, Technology and Innovation Specialist at the United Nations Innovation Technology Accelerator for Cities, UNITAC. We will then have presentations from 3 learning cities: Edmonton, Canada; Fujairah, United Arab Emirates; and Curitiba, Brazil. The cities will share with us their experience of using AI in shaping lifelong learning at the local level. Following these interventions, we will proceed to an open discussion with questions from the audience. Time permitting, we'll have quite packed agenda today, and I would like to ask all speakers to strictly stick to their allotted time so we are able to take some questions at the end. Lastly, I will share 3 important technical points. First, this event is being recorded and will later be available via the UIL website. Secondly, we warmly invite you to please use the chat box for any comments you may have during today's event, or let's know where you are joining us from. Please use the Q&A box for any questions you have for our speakers. We'll do our best to address as many of your questions as possible. Finally, interpretations are available throughout today's webinar in Arabic, French, Spanish, Chinese, and Korean. You will find an interpretation button like a globe at the bottom of your screen. Simply click on it and select the language channel which you would like to follow. I would like to warmly thank all of our partners who are supporting us with language interpretation. Chinese interpretation is provided by the Shanghai Municipal Institute of Lifelong Education in the People's Republic of China. For Arabic, interpretation is provided by the Regional Center of Quality and Excellence in Education under the auspices of UNESCO, located in Jubail, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Korean interpretation is provided by Insight Crew and Lifelong Education Research Center, Seoul National University, which supports the performance management of learning cities in the Republic of Korea. Thank you very much to our partners for making this webinar more accessible through your support. Without further ado, let's now hear from Ms. Rachel Polak, Program Specialist at the Section of Technology and AI in Education Sector, UNESCO. Rachel, you have 8 minutes. The floor is yours.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. I can see in the chat all of the places that people are coming from, and oh, excuse me, I think that this is not the correct version of the PowerPoint. I'm not sure if you're able to share the other one that I sent. Uh, Maybe I can continue, and then if hopefully you'll be able to find the right file. So apologies for the confusion there. It's a pleasure to join you today from UNESCO headquarters. Thank you to Wan Boson and also to Mo Wong for the invitation. Um, and I'd like to start just by saying that the topic of today's webinar is quite new for UNESCO. It's an area that we're just beginning to explore. We don't yet have all the answers, and I hope we can start to discover those together in conversation. So in the next few minutes, I'd like to just talk briefly about why AI matters so much for education and lifelong learning, UNESCO's approach to AI, and offer some other reflections about the possible role of learning cities, which I hope will be a useful framing before we hear from the cities themselves. Uh, and if at any point someone is able to locate the correct PowerPoint, please let me know and feel free to start it. Um, so I wanted to start just by placing this into context a little bit within the UN. I think AI is really at the top of the global agenda. Last week, we had the Global Dialogue on AI Governance in Geneva. Um, let's see, all I can see is a black screen, though, just audio here. Maybe we can just turn off the presentation then if that's not working. Yeah. Do we have a technical support person? May be able to help. Okay, I'll just continue then. Um, so la last week was the global dialogue on AI governance in Geneva. As UN Secretary General Guterres said, artificial intelligence is advancing at runaway speed. A technology. Okay, that's great. Wonderful. Okay, if you could go next. Perfect. That's it. Okay, thank you so much. Um, and so he noted that it's a technology that can reshape economies, transform the world of work, sway elections, and tilt the balance of security, and is being deployed faster than anyone, including the people building it, can keep up. And our task is to build a future of AI by humanity, with humanity, and for all humanity. Next, please. And so why does this matter for education and lifelong learning? Just to recall a few basic facts that AI differs from other emerging technologies by the unprecedented pace of adoption. We can remember that the World Wide Web took 15 years to get to 1 billion people. ChatGPT reached 100 million in just a couple of months. It has a unique concentration of resources, a massive impact on knowledge work, and there's a challenge in ensuring the factuality and correctness of information. We know that it is disrupting teaching and learning. I think that's something everyone on this call is well aware of, and also that the demand for AI skills is growing. And according to the UNESCO Global Skills Tracker, more than 10% of skills advertised for jobs in information and communication now are related to AI. And I think it's very fitting that we're meeting today, 15th of July, which is World Youth Skills Day. And I think it's a reminder that developments in AI require us to constantly upskill and reskill in order to keep up with the rapid pace of change. So in other words, AI reminds us that we must all be lifelong learners. Next slide, please. So I'd like to say just a word about UNESCO's approach to AI more generally. We believe that AI should be developed, governed, and used in the service of humanity, or in short, AI for the people. Uh, we, yeah, avoid techno-solutionism and believe that AI should expand human capabilities, respect human rights, and strengthen human agency. Next, please. Uh, Over the past several years, we've developed quite a substantial body of work on AI, beginning with the recommendation on the ethics of AI in 2019, to guidance for education systems, competency frameworks, policy advice, and capacity building. Next, please. And just to say a little bit more about the recommendation on the ethics of AI, this was the first global instrument of its kind. It was adopted in 2021 by all of our member states. And you can see on the screen there the core principles and key core values and key principles of this recommendation, namely values of human rights and human dignity, of living in peace, just and interconnected societies, of ensuring diversity and inclusiveness, and fostering an ecosystem of environment and human flourishing. We also have a readiness assessment framework that's now been implemented in more than 80 countries around the world, to offer tailored support. Next, please. So we also have guidance for generative AI in education and research. This was one of the first in the world introduced. There too, I don't want to go into a lot of detail. The idea is just to give you a sense of some of the resources that are available, that you may find relevant. Next, please. We also have competency frameworks for teachers and students. And so these describe the knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes, that we think are increasingly important as AI becomes part of education and society. These were living documents, that were developed by groups of experts and through extensive consultations. Um, the competency framework for teachers really emphasizes teacher rights, autonomy, and agency, also to guide transformative teaching and teacher education policy and practice. The competency framework for students is about helping them to understand, apply, and create, and focusing on the competencies of human-centered mindset, the ethics of AI, AI techniques and applications, and AI system design. So the concept of co-creation is really central. Next, please. We're also developing a series of MOOCs, called Prep AI, preparing policymakers and educators for AI and inclusive digital transformation. This may be something of interest, to you on the call. And so the first two of those courses will be launched in September, at Digital Learning Week. So that could also be of interest. So those are just a super quick overview of some of the resources that we have available on this topic, which might be of interest. So I'd now like to move to the next slide, please. And so I've talked a little bit about UNESCO's approach, about our resources, and then just to finish with a couple of reflections about cities and the possible role of cities. So I think that learning cities have a real advantage in the way that they can offer AI for lifelong learning, because we think of AI as something that's developed globally, but lifelong learning happens locally. And we know learning cities, you know your communities, you convene partners, create learning opportunities, and promote inclusion. And so I think that's so important for fostering lifelong learning, about AI and with AI. Next, please. And so, yeah, just a few reflections. Perhaps the speakers will touch on these, or we can continue thinking about. So, how can cities expand opportunities for all to learn about AI and with and without AI? How can they cultivate critical thinking, ethical judgment, and human agency? And how can lifelong learning in cities foster AI for the public good? So I just wanted to leave those with you food for thought. I hope I managed to stay under 8 minutes given the technical difficulties at the beginning, but really looking forward to hearing from our speakers. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you very much, Rachel. Thank you for highlighting the human-centered approach to technology, one that ensures AI is used to expand human capabilities and agency rather than diminish them. As places where learning is nurtured, learning cities must be able to identify, engage, and convene local partners to broaden opportunities for AI literacy, strengthen human capabilities, and shape the development of and use of AI for public good. Next, we'll now hear from Ms. Livia Schaefer-Nonose, Technology and Innovation Specialist at UNITAC. Livia, the floor is yours. 8 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vincent, and thanks to all colleagues for the invite to present today. It's a pleasure to be here, and nice to meet all of the cities in the network as well. I'll tell you a little bit more about how do we have this people-centered approach to AI governance and emerging technologies at UN Habitat. First, a quick introduction to UNITAC is the United Nations Innovation and Technology Accelerator for Cities. Is a partnership led by UN Habitat with the UN Office for ICT and Hafen City University in Hamburg. And we are based here in the lab with the City Science Lab in Hamburg. So the work of UNITAC with digital technologies and data is as part of UN Habitat's work also with sustainable urban development as this custodian, as we are custodians of the Sustainable Development Goal 11 for cities. So and then in this field of sustainable urban development, working with cities and human settlements, we focus on centering people in the use of technology to improve access to housing, basic service, transformation of informal settlements, and also looking at economic development and opportunities as well, including for lifelong learning in cities. So in this work, we also do a lot of research and data collection to generate also evidence and partner with research institutions to understand trends in AI, responsible AI, smart city governance. Then based on that, we build also capacity development products that we use in the technical cooperation with partners and bring this to global platforms like the World Urban Forum and also regional events and Smart City Congress and so on. So it's an approach that focuses on understanding what is this, how is this AI and technologies being used in cities, but then leveraging this knowledge to produce the resources that can be used for capacity development and to implement solutions that really work to improve the quality of life. Just a few examples here on also on our work. I think it's also it complements what Rachel was showing more on the sense of the governance in cities specifically. So we have a toolkit for urban planning using geospatial artificial intelligence technologies. In the responsible AI assessment for cities, we mapped also best practices and recommendations that cities could use when developing ethical frameworks for AI. We have also some guidance on the applications and governance of AI across different sectors of society, including also in education. And then the work on mainstreaming human rights, which is cross-cutting also to the application of AI in several domains for cities. Then I wanted just to mention here, how do we define a people-centered approach to AI or emerging technologies and data? So a few things that based on the best practice compilation and research that we have done, we have 5 pillars that helps us to establish a framework for the people-centered approach. So we have the collaboration and co-creation with the communities. We have assessing the digital divide and also developing digital inclusion plans, making sure that digital infrastructure, when developed, is secure also and fosters trust with institutions, and then building the right capacities to leverage not only the opportunities, but also the risks that are posed by AI and other technologies. So this is the people-centered approach pillars. But we have the way that we incorporate this in our work at UNITAC and UN Habitat is that first we always start with a strategy. So this can be a strategy for education, for digital transformation, from lifelong learning. And why this strategy is so important is because it provides the directionality for then how technology and data should be used. And not first starting with the technology and then thinking how to incorporate that into the ecosystem or the institutions. So starting with the strategy first really allows to put the public interest first in the needs of the people as well, in the impact that those tools will have, and then building the capacity around that for implementation and for leveraging the benefits. Here is just a quick overview of the different tools that we work with within this strategy approach. So we have supported recovery plans, strategies in Ukraine, mapping of settlements in different parts of Africa and Central America. We have also worked with participatory processes, supporting, for example, in Brazil, the Brazil 2050 strategy, and then platforms for data dashboards for basic urban service provisions and other indicators around the city functions. And so why do we also need to consider so much the traditional approaches, and why we move from the stack or techno solutionism to a more needs-driven, people-centered focus? There's a lot of concerns nowadays with technologies that are used, that over-rely on this narrative for optimization or automation. So there is also this concern that we're replacing entire processes just with automation of service. There's not sometimes a clear evidence of what is responsible AI KPIs or how is the technology really benefiting people. There's also sometimes a need for more co-creation and collaboration as well that fosters more transparent use of AI and also establish the right governance approaches. So this is also all translated from this needs-driven approach rather than focusing on the techno solutionism approach. Here, just to conclude, I think I have probably 1 or 2 minutes, but it's the challenges that we have identified in our previous research also is that very few cities have ethical AI frameworks or AI strategies for different applications, including lifelong learning, as Rachel mentioned, is a very also new work. You have a lot of concerns with bias, discriminations, and impacts to human rights, but we also see a lot of opportunities on AI, really helping accessibility, inclusion, best practices in learning, and so on. So we developed a few recommendations in our work too, which includes really making, having a foundation, having these strategies in place, building the right capabilities, and then defining how is the responsible AI applied in your context. Just an example of our AI risk management framework, which is sometimes more technical, but really gives an overview of how to consider different phases of AI uses in cities for different purpose. And then to conclude, as also Rachel mentioned, last week we had the Global Dialogue on AI Governance in Geneva. And I think that a lot of these discussions are highlighting the need for more participation, regional representation. And so it's really good to see here cities from so many regions being represented in the discussions today. And I think there is also a lot that cities can contribute for global discussions on governance, because it is really in cities that we have evidence of how AI is impacting people or being leveraged to improve also access to service and education and lifelong learning. So thanks a lot, and I hope I didn't also overstretch my time. Over to you, Watson.
Thank you, Livia. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing UNITAC's approach, particularly its people-centered and collaborative co-design methodology. The shift from a technology-focused perspective to a person-driven approach is especially valuable as it helps to identify and address governance gaps, reduce digital inequalities, and enhance the responsible use of AI. Ultimately, this approach can accelerate progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals by creating a more inclusive urban environment. Your presentation provides an excellent foundation for the practical examples we'll be learning from during today's sessions. I see some hands in the chat. Please, we'll have a dedicated Q&A question and answer session. So feel free to share your questions. You may use the box to post your questions. To continue this discussion, let's now give the floor to the representatives of learning cities. And now I will I will hand it to my colleague Mo to moderate the following sessions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wanda Wilson. Thank you, Wanda Wilson. I would also like to thank again our two expert speakers, Rachel and Livia, for your valuable and inspiring inputs. Without any further delay, let me now give the floor to Ms. Natasha Weber, Senior Advisor, Council Protocol and External Relations of the City of Edmonton, Canada. Due to the big time difference between Canada and Hamburg, her presentation will be presented with a pre-recorded video. Let me request my colleague to play the video.
Thank you for inviting Edmonton to speak on artificial intelligence for lifelong learning. My name is Natasha Weber. I'm a senior advisor with the City of Edmonton and lead on our UNESCO learning initiatives. I'm excited to showcase how Edmonton integrates AI to support lifelong learning throughout our city. Edmonton's learning ecosystem has invested interest in AI and other cutting-edge technologies to support education, work, recreation, and citizen engagement. From classrooms to citizen action, the Edmonton model engages people of all ages to learn, use, or benefit from AI technologies. We will explore 3 pillars of our collaborative AI network that support lifelong learning here in Edmonton. What does lifelong learning mean in the age of AI? For Edmonton, it's not just about upskilling adults when new technology disrupts their jobs. Edmonton is building a standard baseline of AI literacy, starting with early education in our local school systems. Located in Edmonton, AMI, the Alberta Machine Intelligence Institute, has served as a hub for AI research and innovation for 20 years. They collaborate with several of our learning partners, including the University of Alberta and our school boards. Currently, they offer resources for school teachers to build AI literacy into lesson plans and curriculum. They also provide opportunities for hands-on learning, connections to industry professionals, and expert speakers for the classroom. To date, their program has reached over 127,000 students and has trained 5,000 teachers. A recent partnership with the Alberta government will help them expand their student resources by providing AI learning kits for classrooms around our whole province. By supporting teachers, AMI is ensuring that our students are AI confident and ready to lead our communities into the future. From automating work processes to simplifying our schedules, the promise of AI can be both exciting and overwhelming to those who do not grow up with using it and do not have time or money to enroll in full-time AI courses. This is where the many inclusive opportunities offered by Edmonton Learning Partners supports people at any age willing to learn something new. The Edmonton Public Library offers much more than just books. Our award-winning libraries create space where people are welcome to explore their interests and passions. Our downtown library features a 2-story interactive virtual display for all ages, as well as maker spaces that allow access to computer labs, video games, 3D printing, and other technology services. These are just a few examples of how our libraries are providing access and exposure to up-to-date technology, inspiring ideas and confidence as AI becomes ever more integrated into our lives. Once inspiration is sparked, people in Edmonton have many resources to access formal AI education and programming. Edmonton's 8 publicly funded post-secondary institutions provide a diverse AI educational pathways, ranging from accessible literacy courses and professional certificates to specialized degree programming and research, enabling learners of all levels to enter or advance in the field of AI. Our city is well equipped to teach, train, and research AI, but how are we using it? the City of Edmonton has established itself as a national leader in municipal AI. Our approach focuses on applied AI, using data science as a pragmatic tool to solve real-world municipal problems. Utilizing a talent pipeline from our local universities, this is where AI education and technology meets civic action. Citizens engage with technology from reporting to using open data sources. AI is shaping the way we plan and build our city. Our city has delivered over 75 successful projects using advanced technologies such as machine learning and AI, two of which I would like to highlight. Our repair project helps us predict and prioritize potholes. Those are holes left in our roads due to extreme freeze-thaw weather in our northern climate. This project, led by a senior data scientist, was developed primarily by a University of Alberta master's student during an 8-month co-op term. Using AI, our teams were able to analyze citizen-reported data more effectively, increasing our ability to prioritize road repair. This improves public perception not only of our ability to manage infrastructure, but also engages with citizens. Another example is our Safety Codes Inspection Efficiency Program. Our data science team worked extensively alongside city inspectors to fine-tune a machine learning model that identifies which routine inspections are likely to pass without deficiencies. By doing this, we are saving over 1,500 inspector hours annually, which allows us to reallocate those resources to higher risk areas while simultaneously increasing confidence among our developers. Edmonton is proud of the many opportunities people have within our city to learn, engage, and benefit from technology and artificial intelligence. The world is changing at a fast pace, and we understand that lifelong learning allows people to be agile and resilient as we move forward. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions about Edmonton, feel free to reach out to the email provided.
Thank you so much for the video speech. We very much appreciate this very insightful presentation. We are also very impressed by this 3 pillars comprehensive approach adopted by Edmonton to AI. I think clearly it shows Edmonton is making every effort to revisit the meaning of lifelong learning in the age of AI and working with a network of industry research and public sector partners to promote AI literacy from the earliest stages of education. It indeed exemplifies a truly future-oriented approach. Now let us give the floor to Dr. Sandhya Al-Samahi, educational expert, coordinator of Fujairah Learning City, the Crown Prince Office of Fujairah, United Arab Emirates. Ms. Al-Samahi, you have 5 minutes. The floor is yours.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sandhya Al-Samahi, educational expert and the coordinator of Fujairah Learning City. It's my pleasure to represent Fujairah Learning City, one of UNESCO Learning City in United Arab Emirates. Today, I would like to share how a local entity have become part of our vision to prepare young learners for the future by artificial intelligence and lifelong learning. Next, please. We started one of a simple question. What if every learner in a city had the opportunity to understand, use, and create with AI, not just consume it? In Fujairah, we asked ourselves this question, and it became the starting point of our journey. Next, please. We realized that preparing our community for future required more than teaching digital skills. It required helping young people think creatively and solve real problems. That is why we focused on building a learning environment where AI supports future skills, innovation, inclusion, and lifelong learning. Next, please. From vision to action. To bring this vision to life, the Crown Principal Office of Fujairah in UAE launched Fujairah Young Techpreneurs Initiative for students between 7 to 15 years old in partnership with Hamdan bin Mohammed Smart University and Ministry of Education. The initiative provides practical experience in AI, coding, cybersecurity, and entrepreneurship through project-based learning and innovation projects. Next, please. AI was integrated into every stage of learning. Students use a safe AI learning platform under academic supervision. AI supported students from analyzing challenges to developing innovative solutions. And every project was connected to real community needs and helping students to apply their knowledge to real-world challenges and develop practical solutions. Next, please. The impact of the initiatives goes far beyond participation. The learners completed the program through two learning tracks, which are training and qualification and implementation and challenge. They developed 12 innovation projects across 7 strategic sectors. Most importantly, they involved from technology users into confident innovators creating solutions for their communities. Next, please. And this initiative represents one step on Fujairah journey towards becoming an AI-enabled learning city. We will continue expanding learning opportunities, innovation, and empowering more learners. Because we believe that AI creates its greatest impact when it empowers people to keep learning through the life. That's the end of our presentation, and thank you for your attention. And we look forward to learning from all of you as we continue this journey together.
Thank you so much, Sandia, for this very interesting and insightful presentation. It was truly fascinating also to learn about your city's efforts to integrate AI into the learning environments at every stage of learning. I think equally impressive is your perspective on AI, not as an end in itself, but as a tool for problem solving, innovation, and lifelong learning. Thank you very much. Now let me give the floor to Ms. Mayaha Ledoux, Manager of the Lighthouse of Knowledge and Innovation Program at the Curitiba Municipal Education Secretariat. She will present the experience from the city of Curitiba, Brazil. I would like to request other speakers to mute if you are not the next speaker. Okay, so I want to remind all the participants this presentation will be delivered in Spanish. If you wish to follow it in English, please ensure you are in the English interpretation channel by clicking on the button that looks like a globe on the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you wish to follow in other languages, please stay where you are. For Spanish, please change to original audio channel. So, Ms. Mayaha Ledoux, you have 5 minutes. The floor is yours.
Muchas gracias. Mi nombre es Mayara. Es un honor estar aquí con ustedes. Me gustaría comentar que estoy aprendiendo español. Haré todo lo posible para compartir mis ideas con claridad. Actualmente soy profesora y una de las gestoras del proyecto Faros del Saber e Innovación de la Red Municipal de Curitiba. Curitiba es históricamente conocida por integrar desarrollo urbano, sostenibilidad y educación. Nuestra Red Municipal de Educación atiende a cerca de 140.000 estudiantes. Me gustaría compartir la trayectoria de este proyecto y mostrar cómo estos espacios han evolucionado a lo largo de más de 30 años. Inspirados en los grandes símbolos de la antigüedad, la biblioteca y el faro de Alejandría, estos espacios nacieron en 1994 con una misión muy clara: democratizar el acceso al conocimiento. Mientras que la biblioteca representaba la preservación y la difusión del conocimiento. El faro simbolizaba la orientación y la posibilidad de iluminar nuevos caminos. Inicialmente eran espacios dedicados a la lectura, la literatura y la formación de lectores. Con el avance de las tecnologías digitales, comenzaron a incorporar computadoras y a ofrecer acceso público a Internet, ampliando las oportunidades para los estudiantes y la comunidad. En 2017 comenzó una nueva etapa con la creación de los espacios Maker, integrando la biblioteca y la tecnología. La biblioteca y la tecnología pasaron a convivir en un mismo entorno, transformando estos espacios en lugares de experimentación y aprendizaje activo. Hoy contamos con una red de 32 faros, espacios anexos a las escuelas municipales. En ellos hacemos talleres de robótica, programación, pensamiento computacional y cultura maker. Sabemos que ya no basta solamente con tener acceso a la información. La tecnología se convierte en herramientas para investigar, crear soluciones y proyectos interdisciplinarios con sentido para los estudiantes. Hoy es fundamental desarrollar creatividad, pensamiento crítico, colaboración, autonomía y capacidad para resolver problemas. Por eso, los faros se transformaron en espacios de experimentación y creación. La inteligencia artificial amplía estas posibilidades y se convierte en una aliada para potenciar la creatividad y la innovación de nuestros estudiantes. Con ella, crean prompts, imágenes, historias, juegos, investigan problemas de su comunidad y desarrollan soluciones para desafíos reales. Así, la tecnología con propósito, fortaleciendo su ciudadanía digital y su protagonismo. Los faros también fortalecen la formación continua de los docentes de la red municipal. Nuestra experiencia demuestra que la innovación depende sobre todo de las personas, docentes preparados y ambientes inspiradores. Me gustaría finalizar con una invitación. Si visitan Brasil, será un honor recibirlos en Curitiba para conocer nuestra red. Ha sido un placer compartir nuestra experiencia. Quedamos à disposição para seguir conectados e intercambiar conhecimentos. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much, Mayaha, for this very kind invitation. Also, thank you so much for this very interesting presentation. I think your presentation has rightly captured the essence of being a learning city, using public spaces as non-formal and informal learning settings, learning spaces, to accommodate the AI learning and also equip skills for the citizens to capture the advancement of technology and to make this can benefit the technology in advancement can benefit all members of the society. So thank you once again. Okay, colleagues, participants, now we have finished the presentation from all the city representatives. We are quite on track with the timing. I want to thanks again to all our speakers for your great contribution. And I think we can now proceed to the Q&A session. We have received many questions from our participants. Due to the time constraints, I will not be able to ask all of them, but I think I could combine some similar questions and invite our panelists to share their reflections, their insights. Let me check. Okay, I think the first question I can ask it for all speakers. Many cities are eager to explore the potential of AI. There's no doubt. We have received also demands and requests from our member cities to support them in this journey to deploy AI to fully support lifelong learning. However, the cities are in different contexts, and many of them have not yet dedicated a strategy or specialized expertise or significant resources. So my question to you would be, what would you recommend as a realistic first step for a city that wishes to begin integrating AI into lifelong learning in an ethical, inclusive, and also practical way? I think perhaps we can start with Rachel, followed by Livia. Then I will invite brief reflections from our city representatives. May I first give the floor to Rachel for this question? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mo, and thank you to all the speakers for these really interesting and inspiring presentations. I would say that one first step would be to assess the baseline, the current situation, before taking any measures. And so that's something that at headquarters we're talking about as is assessments. We have a project now ongoing with the European Commission on future-proof schools, supporting schools, future-proof education, supporting schools in the AI evolution. And that's really trying to understand what is happening now. This is looking at national or regional education systems, but I think a lot of the same principles could apply to cities. And so looking at what is the infrastructure? What are the economic conditions? What are the current policies? What competencies now exist of teachers and their awareness? For cities, it could be with city officials or with continued education leaders. So I think that that's really a critical first step. And that's something now we're also looking at and developing a policy framework on AI in education, which I think will hopefully be a really useful guide. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel, for this very comprehensive answer. Now let me give the floor to Olivia.
Yes, thank you, Mo, and thank you all colleagues for your presentation too. I agree with Rachel. I think starting with an assessment is really important to have also this needs-driven approach. What areas that the AI could be helpful for the community, and also where would be the impact also for the other stakeholders, or if it's application of the AI within the institution, how the colleagues that are civil servants see the value and need for additional capacities or training. I think identifying entry points also in the ecosystems to reach out to the stakeholders could be an interesting also approach. I think the example from Curitiba with this lighthouse for learning, it's an interesting also example, but there has been also, besides the use of libraries and other public spaces, as Mo mentioned, that you can use to connect also and get feedback. And I think starting small with pilots is a very good approach to first learn also what works and what doesn't work, and draw some lessons that you can then scale later more widely to the city overall. So I think if this is some initial points, and perhaps to conclude, having a initial understanding what would be the strategy making available also for what would be the AI helping to support, what the strategy, what goals, what purpose. I think having this understanding gives some directionality and can help to inform then which sector or which area will the AI be most valuable to start with.
Thank you, Olivia. Very, very concrete answer. Thank you so much. Very helpful. Let me now invite our two cities to share some of their reflections. Let me first give the floor to Cynthia. Any reflections you want to share? Reflecting on your own experiences, what could be a useful, practical first step for cities? Yeah, the floor is yours.
Okay. Fujairah Young's Techpreneurs is a strategic initiative launched by our government. And through project-based learning and safe AI platform, the initiative empowers students to develop innovative solution to real community challenges while promoting lifelong learning. And I think that we should to start with our community's need, and we should to focus on people first, and then use AI as a tool to support lifelong learning, not as the goal itself.
Thank you, Cynthia. This is a very good suggestion. Let me finally give the floor to Mayaha to share some thoughts based on your city's experience.
Gracias. Creemos que el pensamiento crítico es un aspecto fundamental. Debemos preparar a los estudiantes para que comprendan de manera crítica tanto las posibilidades como los desafíos que puede presentar la inteligencia artificial. Sin embargo, este objetivo solo será posible si también investimos en la preparación de los docentes. Es fundamental ofrecer formación continua para que desarrollen las competencias necesarias para integrar la inteligencia artificial en los procesos de ensino y aprendizaje de manera ética, crítica, responsable y pedagógicamente significativa.
Thank you, Mayaha. Very short, but very concise. Thank you so much. I found another question. Maybe we still have time for a very short question, but this is kind of a critical question. This is to Rachel and Livia. Of course, I will invite the two cities. If you have any thoughts, you are welcome to share. So the question, let me try to rephrase. Let me read it. Rachel highlighted the importance of strengthening human agency and critical thinking, while Livia pointed to the lack of responsible AI KPIs. As cities increasingly adopt AI, what indicators, metrics, or forms of evidence can be used to assess whether AI is genuinely enhancing rather than diminishing residents' capabilities, autonomy, and the public good? So may I give the floor maybe first to Livia this time, then followed up by Rachel.
Yes, thanks, Mo, and thanks also for this question. I think what is a good basis for indicators, I think it's drawing from human rights framework and also from the ethical framework from UNESCO already on responsible AI. So I think, and then translating these frameworks into indicators, it would be a good start. So I think you have, for example, in human rights, the right to access to information, right? So you can have some indicators related to the number of open portals that provide information where your AI is being used, like registries, to provide also more transparency on how the AI is being used or when it's being used, what data is training that AI, also informing what is the model built on, has this been tested before? I think it's there are already frameworks in place, but I think they need to also be contextualized to the city context and how that works for the application in the local context by the city.
Thank you,
We
Lee.
have sorry, yeah.
Sorry, so go
we
ahead.
have some risk frameworks too that I think are helpful, and then they can also fit into this indicators preparation.
Thank you, Olivia. Sorry for interrupting. You stick to your style, being very concrete. Thank you for this answer. If you have any resources or references that could be useful, please also feel free to share with our participants. Okay. Let me now give the floor to Rachel for a quick reply. Thank you, Rachel.
Okay, I'll try to be quick as my style. So I think, yeah, it's a fantastic question that doesn't have an easy answer. But one thing that comes to mind in terms of indicators would be the SDG 4 indicators. So SDG 4 is for quality and inclusive lifelong learning, education and learning for all. We have one indicator, 4.7, which is on global citizenship, education, and greening. And so I think there it's very difficult to measure these things, but on digital, for example, looking at connectivity, which is very basic when we think, but there was also a question in the chat about inequalities and how to ensure that AI does not increase inequalities. And one element of that is just access to the infrastructure, to the internet, to specific AI tools, whether they're free or proprietary. So just to say that I think looking at SDG 4.7 is a step in that direction. And then maybe also the broader picture of literacy rates, of financing for education and lifelong learning opportunities, to get a holistic view of what's happening in the cities and how that's contributing to human development and the public good.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I wonder whether our two cities have anything to add on. Sandia, please go ahead.
Yes, I want to add that because AI is becoming part of every day life, we believe learners should not only know how to use it, but also understand it, use it responsibly, and create with it. Also, we can measure success through learner participation, project completion, innovation projects, digital skills development, and participant satisfaction.
Thank you, Santia. Mayaha, you have anything or not really? Feel free if yes or no. Okay, seems like you. Sorry. Please go ahead if anything you want to add on.
Bueno, en el contexto de la integración de la inteligencia artificial en la educación, algunos indicadores de desarrollo profesional docente podrían ser la apropiación de conocimientos, habilidades y actitudes necesarias para el uso pedagógico de la tecnología. Entre ellos se encontrarían la competencia de herramientas de IA, comprensión crítica de sus potencialidades y limitaciones, la capacidad para elaborar prompts alineados a los objetivos educacionales, reflexión ética y formación continuada orientando a los docentes sobre las tecnologías.
Thank you, Mayaha. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, due to the time constraints, we will have now to bring today's webinar to a close. First and foremost, I would really like to extend our sincere thanks to all of our presenters for their insightful and valuable contributions. Today's discussion has clearly demonstrated that AI extends far beyond technology itself. It's reshaping education, skills development, governance, employment, and civic participation, creating both new opportunities and new responsibilities for cities. Gladly to see many of our member cities are really taking up these new responsibilities, making all the efforts, making innovations to address the new learning needs. I hope our participants today will take away valuable ideas and inspirations from the initiatives presented and continue advancing this important work within their own learning cities and communities. I would also like to express my sincere appreciation to the GNLC team for their excellent preparation and coordination of today's webinar, as well as to our interpretation partners, to all our interpreters for helping making this event accessible to the global audience. Finally, I want to share regarding the GNLC webinar series, we will take a short summer break in August. Our next webinar will take place on 16 September at the same time as today's session. The webinar is entitled Empowering Women Through Lifelong Learning, the Role of Female Leadership in Learning Cities. You can register using the link now shared in the chat. We very much look forward to welcome you again in September. In the meantime, I wish you a pleasant day, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are joining us from. Thank you very much and goodbye.